The stories start with a Lee man and his lady love Yuen live in Vancouver as painters. While Yuen creates original art, Lee is more attracted in replicating the paintings made by famous painters. He is very talented in his field of work and can replicate nearly any kind of painting to every minute detail. Nonetheless, his work is not very popular among the dealers and the gallery show organizers since they cannot display a counterfeit painting no matter how good it is. One sunset, Lee returns home to hear Yuen, a manager, telling her that she should drop being Lee's co-artist if she wants to succeed. Yuen, in turn, asks the manager to drop her because she would never stop being Lee's partner. After a plenty of struggle, the duo manages to land a spot in an art show. Their paintings are displayed for the guests to see. Many of them love Yuen's work but are critical of Lee's paintings. One guest called the artist goes as far as to call his painting fake. Yuen furiously throws her drink in his face and asks him to go away. Lee follows the man behind to apologize and finds out all this was a setup made by the artist so they could meet in private. He says he recognizes Lee's talent for counterfeit art and praises his precision. They go to a bar and chat over a drink. The artist claims that he also loves precise replicas and has a job for Lee if he wants to change his life. After the encounter, Lee goes back to the art gallery and burns the painting that was insulted earlier. Satisfied with the decision, he calls the artist the following day and agrees to work for him. When asked what paintings he wants to be replicated, the artist shows him a $100 bill. It turns out he is planning to make bundles and bundles of fake cash that is impossible to be recognized. Since they cannot just print the money, the artist is frantic to have someone like Lee in the team. Initially, Lee refuses to do anything illegal, but upon realizing that he will be swimming in money, he takes the offer. He returns residence that day and sees Yuen moving away from their home. She has decided to leave him after the stunt he put in the art gallery that cost her a lot of money. In the following event, Lee joins the artist and his team on a private plane that is flying to Thailand. Lee still plans to return to Canada and win Yuen over after making some cash. The team consists of a printing plate specialist, Mr. Yam, a color theory expert, and two people in charge of security and sales. The new 1996 US $100 bill features the duplicitous version of Franklin's portrait that is enlarged by 50%, which resulted in extra details and lines, even if they use the commercial printer with the highest resolution. The result will be of moire pattern and not precise at all. Also, there is a microprint on Franklin's collar on the bill that says the United States of America. A commercial printer would never be able to print this with precision. This is where Lee comes to play because he can paint the bill decent than the printers. Secondly, the bills are made of scratch-free paper that turns the black ink of the counterfeit detection pen into yellow. This benefits bank workers separate fake from real. The artist is yet to find a way to get the scratched papers, but until then, he wants Lee to work hard on the painting process. For the following few weeks, Lee paints the $100 bill with absolute precision, not missing a single streak or a line. To embed the watermark and the security thread in the counterfeits is yet another complication. For this, they are going to use a Chinese painting method where the real painting is sandwiched between two papers that are pressed to make the middle layers stand out. Following comes the printing process that is under Mr. Yam. He uses his expertise to make a printing plate that paints with 0.010 of a millimeter precision. On a test round, they see that there is no moire effect, which means they are successful. After that, the artist discovers a way to acquire scratch paper that is the main raw material for production. They travel to Eastern Europe to a phone book manufacturing company. It turns out they use scratch paper that is triple the width of a $100 bill to manufacture phone books. The width is excellent for the sandwiching process, so they buy a huge batch of it disguised as a Chinese comic book company. After importing the paper to their hideout, it doesn't take them long before making the counterfeits that look comparable to real bills. They sell it through an antique shop to wholesalers and are very careful about the people they do business with. After 6 months of working with the artist, Lee returns to Vancouver to return a key to Yuen. He refuses to meet her and decides to leave the key on her desk. The artist thinks he is a coward for giving up so effortlessly, which causes an argument between the two. To prove his bravery, the artist brings out a gun and goes to a police car to conduct a robbery out of nowhere. Lee has to reluctantly help him in it, but he cannot shoot anyone out of fear. By the end of the impromptu robbery, all the policemen are dead, and Lee is left surprised. He finally understands his boss is not a sane person. Moreover, he only signed up to paint, not to kill people. Then, we are introduced to a counterfeit bill expert in the police named Wing. He is called to Hong Kong from Canada because the police have gotten a hint of an immediate rise in fake dollar bills all over the world. Wing meets the head of Hong Kong police, Inspector Ho. They go on an undercover mission and pose as customers who are willing to buy fake money. After various meetings with a lot of brokers, they are allowed to meet the artist at a boat party. Nonetheless, their hopes to catch the culprit are crushed when they find out the painter sent his brokers in his place. They test Wing in numerous ways and figure out he is not a threat. One afternoon, Lee approaches the artist and claims that he doesn't want to be on the team anymore. Still, he promises to find a new way for them to keep their business going before his departure. The artist allows him to do whatever he wants without a fuss. In the attending montage, we see the team traveling the world and selling their money at an international level. The profits are insane, and so is the appetite for their goods. Then, they get the highest bid from the Thai crime boss, the General. He calls the artist and his team to his hideout for a business meeting. But it turns out the General assassinated the artist's father long ago, hence, the artist is here. Not for business, but to kill the General. He asks Lee to trigger the explosives in his jacket, but a cowardly Lee refuses. Seconds later, a car explodes and a shootout ensues. Everyone from the General's team is killed except for their counterfeit money expert named Sarah. She is about to die after catching on fire, but is saved by Lee. After the group departs, she is taken care of and invited to the team because of her expertise. Lee takes care of her and the two develop a relationship. Meanwhile, the artist gives her a fake ID under the name Yuen after Lee's ex-girlfriend. The team takes a 1-year break from business after the incident. During this moment, Lee and the artist go back to Vancouver to meet Yuen and win her over. By now, she has turned into a famous artist, selling hundreds of her paintings. Nonetheless, things go downhill when they find out she is engaged to her manager. The artist wants Lee to fight for his love, but he has already given up. In the attending scene, they are on a yacht on their way to a business meeting with the undercover policeman Wing. The artist does his own research about the customer and finds out about his true identity. He also discovers the police were able to find them because the printing plane expert Mr. M broke the rules and got a watch with counterfeit money. As they had decided, his family will now have to be assassinated for his mistake. Mr. Yam begs for his family's life, but the artist shoots him dead. Lee tries to retaliate, but is knocked out. After that, the team meets Wing, who is unaware that they know his true personality. Once they are in a closed room, the artist asks Lee to kill Wing, but he refuses. In the end, he has to do the job himself. To make Lee get over his fear of assassinating, the artist has kidnapped Yuen and her fiancé. He hands Lee a gun and asks him to kill them since it will be simpler for him to kill people he hates. However, Lee refuses yet again. In a fit of anger, the artist kills Yuen's fiancé himself while Lee saves Yuen. Sarah knows that Lee will also be killed after this. She remembers that he saved her life long ago and envisions the rest of the team. In the ensuing shootout, all the members die and Lee ultimately kills the artist. Sarah makes him let go of Yuen and brings him to a resort that the artist had bought for them. They find out he is still alive because the police never healed his body. One day, Lee discovers that Yuen is about to organize a memorial for her late fiancé. He suspects the artist will be there to kill her to get to him. Despite Sarah begging him to not go, he does it anyway. Nonetheless, on the way, he accidentally uses the counterfeit money and is apprehended by the police. He is then taken to Hong Kong under Inspector Ho's custody and interrogated. Lee is terrified of getting killed by the artist if he reveals his identity, hence he keeps quiet about everything. A few days later, Wen comes to meet him and convinces him to help the police. They settle on an agreement that Lee will be released into witness safety for revealing the artist's identity and criminal history. After that, Lee starts saying the police all about his past, starting from his relationship with Wen, how he met the artist, the money-making process, the time he witnessed the first murder, and so on. After he reveals everything, he also helps the police make sketches of the only two remaining people from their team, Sarah and the artist. By the end of the day, Lee and Yuen are left in a hotel with security outside. The police instantly start a search for the artist now that they have a picture of him. While they are at it, Inspector Hung notices him protected as a police officer in the police headquarters itself. She and her team arrest him and hold him down only to find out the man has been a policeman for several years and couldn't be the artist at all. This is particularly strange because he was the one playing the role of the artist from the very beginning. It is then revealed that the policeman was the guy who helped Ho to bring Lee from Thailand to Hong Kong. Lee had seen his face on the route and remembered it. A flashback shows us that Lee and the artist are the similar people. Lee created the artist in his mind to escape the reality that he is a horrible person. Every time he was fearful of the crimes the artist was committing, Lee was the one committing them. He was also the one who killed Mr. Yam and his family for buying a clock. In the last shootout that assassinated most of his team, he was the one who killed Yuen's fiancée, and the shootout was caused due to a conflict among them. Another shocker comes when we realize the girl who came to bail Lee is not Yuen but Sarah. She was so obsessed with Lee that she got plastic surgery since her face was burnt. After the surgery, she looked identical to Yuen. She came to save her lover and the two have already fled from the hotel room after assassinating the guards. In the following scene, we see the couple together in bed. Sarah is sad that she is always going to be a counterfeit for Yuen and a second option for Lee. When asked if he sees her for herself, Lee doesn't attempt to hide that he is still in love with Yuen. The next day, they get on a boat and run away from Hong Kong. But on the way, Sarah reveals she has been driving in circles for hours, and they are still in Hong Kong's province. She wants to kill him and herself and end a life of misery. They are soon surrounded by the police, but before they catch them, the boat explodes, killing both of them in the process. In the last scene, Inspector Ho goes to the real Yuen to inform her that her fiance's assassin has died. On looking at a picture of Lee, she recognizes him as just a neighbor she had long ago. It turns out Lee even fantasized his whole relationship with Yuen when they were never in the end. If you are a lover of similar content like this, take a look at my distinct videos, and if you love it, please break the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification horn. Catch sight of you in the successive video. Together,